Hello guys, so basically in this video I want to discuss the changes that have been introduced by the patch of 7.29 in Dota. How this patch is going to affect the meta, the announcement of the new hero, how that's going to affect the game, how new hero can be played, how the landscape changes are going to change the game's meta, what teams are going to be using for the new DPC season, what became weaker and what generally became stronger, how the economy change has been affected. So yeah, I'm just going to give you a general idea of how the right Dota, let's say the right Dota, should be played in this patch. So let's start with the new hero first. So the new hero, the Dawnbreaker, is a strength hero, and basically what I saw when I played this hero several times already in this patch is that the hero is generally really strong on stunning levels due to the insane amount of damage that the first spell provides him, the Starbreaker. But you can play it only on the core roles, for now at least, because the duration of the stun that the first spell provides is around 1.3 seconds, and that's like really low for a support position. I played it on position 4, and it's like really strong on the beginning levels, but later on in the game it doesn't scale that much because it's a carry hero, and almost every spell that this hero has is affected by the physical damage. So you cannot scale it in the later on in the game as a position 4 that well as you would scale it on, let's say, on position 1, 2 or 3. The most suitable position, I think, for this hero would be the position 3, since the laning stage, position 3 needs a really solid laning stage. Now that the Dire site has been changed, I'm going to explain that further later on, how the Dire offlane has been changed. But in any case, just for now, that the offlane has been changed and there was some landscape changes, this hero is generally really strong on position 3 with a solid position 4, like ranged solid position 4. Let's say it would be a Lina or a Lion. I think this hero can be very viable because he is really tanky, has a solid armor at the beginning, it's 3 armor I think, and let's say as a position 3 you would buy a Ring of Protection, so you already have like 5 armor. You're really tanky. You have like around 700 HP at the stunning levels without any items. So the stats of this hero are truly insane. Position 3 on this hero would be really good. Position 1 is very situational, because whether or not this hero scales really well by the time, it's still a very slow hero depending on the spells. The first spell is really slow, the second spell is a very mobile. It's a pretty mobile spell, but it's still not that mobile to have a potential to farm around the map like Anti-Mage or the other heroes that I'm going to be discussing in this patch that became way better than they were before. But in any case, I think as a position 3 this is a very solid hero. It doesn't look like overpowered for now, and I don't think it is overpowered no matter what items you build on it, unless it's broken. But still the hero looks very solid. As a position 3 I think it's a very viable hero at the moment. Let's discuss her spells first. So Dawnbreaker whirls her hammer around 3 times. This is a really strong spell in the beginning. I think you skill it on level 1 for sure, because the damage output that it does is truly insane. It does around 300 to 350 physical damage on level 1 with correct items on position 3. Let's say it's a Gauntlet of Strength, 2 branches, 6 tangles and the Ring of Protection if you want to buy it against physical carry. Second spell is more or less a spell that you want to keep on maxed level. You want to keep your first spell only on level 1, because it doesn't scale as much as the other spells do. For example, the second spell and the third spell that you really need to max. Unless you don't max this spell, if you don't max Luminosity, it's practically useless, because the starting amount of heal that it provides and starting amount of crit that it provides is completely useless if you don't max it. It's just way too low. So you either don't take this spell at all and go to max second and first spell for the maximum damage output, or you just max the third and the second spell and keep your first spell on level 1 only. Ultimate is always a must-have on level 6, because you can literally gank any lane, and what is expected of a position 3 in general in Dota is to be capable to rotate on any other lane if you are dominating your own and help your team get more advantage in the game. So that's it with this hero, I think. I think I explained everything for it. For now, at least, what's visible. Let's go to the landscape changes a bit. So basically, landscape has been changed like this way on mid. It's not going to affect much the mid lane. It's not really going to change that much for mid lane. The only change that it will provide is that the supports would be more the position 4 is becoming more and more viable in this patch. I think this patch is practically the best patch for position 4s because there are so many bounties, there are so many capabilities to move around the map and just create the action that position 4s can do a lot. Especially due to the changes to the jungle like this. Let's imagine you're a shaker and there's an enemy mid lane and you can position yourself way better at the moment, or with a Mirana, let's say, here, and try to arrow or fissure block them enemy mid laner and set up a kill. So basically, at this patch, what I think position 4 is going to be a really viable, solid role that is not going to lane with the offlaner anymore, but rather start on a tri-lane and then rotate to mid and try to create action on mid and so on. Because the trees right now and the landscape overall changes, plus the amount of bounties that the game provides now, just give you the capability to be active hero on the map, way more active than you were in the last patch with the position 4 hero. Because for example, a shaker in this patch, even if you don't have any kills on the lane with your position 3 offlaner, but you try to just roam the map and get all the bounties, the timing of the dagger for shaker, tranquils plus dagger on the shaker, in the last patch it was around like 14 to 15 minutes, like 12 to 13 minutes was a really good timing, 14-15 were decent timings. And for now in patch, I think you can get a dagger and tranquil boots at 10 minutes with a, not even a solid lane, but a normal lane where you don't die and you don't get kills either, but you pull for your offlaner and get some XP and bounties. So patch for position 4s is really, really solid. Let's look at the Radiant safe lanes. So yes, this was the thing that I was talking about for the offlane. So basically the pull camp has been changed. So the big camp now is positioned directly more lean towards the dire side. So that gives the capability for the dire side to be the only side that is capable to pull creeps. So basically for a Radiant to pull this camp, I don't even know if you can actually pull it as Radiant. I think you can, but the creep should be positioned very, very close to the sideline. But that doesn't usually happen with the offlane, so generally what happens in this patch now with this change of the camps is that small camp is being pulled more often, so stacking small camp and pulling it would be more viable for the Radiant, and pulling the hard camp is more viable for the dire, way more viable for the dire. So what that means is that the Radiant, if you are playing, let's say, on the Radiant side, you should always aim to double stack this camp, the small camp, and try to pull it and deny the creep waves that way. And if you're playing against dire, of course, so if you're playing Radiant, you should block this camp, always block the hard camp, because it's practically impossible to contest it. So let's say the dire side is pulling this camp, right, and an offlaner has a quelling blade. He cuts these two trees here that we see, these two trees, and he pulls the creeps like this way. There's no way in the world a support is going to be able to interrupt this pull, because the other creeps are gonna get aggroed as well. So blocking this camp is the only viable option that you can actually have on against the dire offlane at the moment as a safe lane. So practically that made offlane for dire way stronger than it was before. So let's look at the Radiant primary jungle. So these changes were really not necessary because it practically didn't change much. Like the distance from here from this camp, this normal camp to the big camp, there's not even that much of a difference. It's just that right now it's more solid to farm the camp in the jungle rather than to farm the camp on the triangle. So last patch we saw that carries were generally aiming to like have a normal laning stage, play the normal laning stage, and then as soon as possible for them to go on the ancients and play the triangle side and push the enemy safe lanes tower as fast as possible. But right now, due to the changes to the camps, that these camps are located closer to each other, and we will look later on to the triangle as well. Triangle got affected as well, so due to these changes, practically I think right now pushing the offlane tower is even more important than the safe lane tower to the enemy. So let's say you're playing Radiant, right? You should be aiming to push the enemy off lane tower. So I will explain later on why exactly that would be. I will go into the lobby and show you the map itself. But yeah, let's just discuss for now how exactly this changed the meta of tower control and put like control of the map overall, I think. And the teams are going to figure that out fast. In pubs, even on the high MMR pubs that I'm playing on 8k plus MMR, people didn't yet figure out why exactly the offlane tower is now more important than the safe lane, but I'll be explaining that when I will go into the lobby. It's hard to do this way. But yeah, generally I think the jungle, lower jungle becomes more important now rather than the ancients. So Dire's jungle is practically the exact same as the Radiant jungle now. So it's the same for the Dire, right? I don't need to explain that. Like, the same is for the Dire. You just, if you play Dire, your aim should be to push the safe lane tower as fast as possible. You don't want to, I mean, your safe lane tower, so practically enemy soft lane tower. You shouldn't aim anymore for the control of the triangle. Triangle is going to be less important in this patch, that I'm sure of. So let's look at the triangle now, right? Triangle didn't really get affected much, but still the fact that the bounties, the only place for the bounties to spawn in this here, that means that the teams are going to be aiming to control this position even more now. So if before you had the capability for your carry to just stand on the triangle, right, farm this triangle and then smoke into the enemy triangle if you want to fight, then now it's even more scarier for the carries, because let's say you're a carry farming here, right, and the runes spawn even more often. That means that if people before in the last patch, which was way slower and the runes were spawning every 5 minutes, wanted to gank you in the triangle as for the carry and to kill you, then in this patch it's going to be even more often, because every 3 minutes a rune is spawning. That means the enemy team is going to be trying even more to kill you with the supports on the rotations, and generally the game becomes faster in this patch. There's more gold. That means that the attempts to kill you will be, there will be way more attempts to kill you on a carry in the triangle. So avoiding triangle, I think, is the best idea at the moment, and trying to control the enemy's triangle. So basically, how the Dire safe lane looks. It was exactly the same as it was before. It was a bit disbalanced before because the Dire had this camp here that was always closer to the pool for the Radiant side. And now they changed it so that the the Radiant has the exact same capability here. This camp is exactly the same as the camp here, big camp. That's practically like a mirror copy of, so that there would be no disbalance between the Dire and the Radiant. So this is the ward spot changes. I think you never put a ward here anyway, because on this cliff it's really easy to spot the ward, but there will be new places that you would be able to ward, and like more creative ways to ward. This is the new ward spot. Yeah. This is not really going to change much. You never ward it here anyway. Same as for the Dara, it's not going to affect that much. So now we come to the important change. This is the three changes for the Radiant top tier 2 and Radiant towers overall. So let's start with this first. So this is what it was before, right? You had 3 trees and you had no possibility at all to TP. You had the only possibility to TP here for the enemy not to see you was here. But that's going to change now because you have the completely altered trees. So basically, I haven't come to it yet, but they have changed the range of TP scroll that you can press. So now the range of where you can TP from the tower is 800. So basically it's attack range. So you can easily TP around these trees here, and no one would be, even the high ground won't be able to spot you in there. These trees became more viable for the position 4 to make a good positioning, to try to set up a fight and so on. And in general, this patch, like, as I said before, opens up your arms to a position 4, to a position 3 for heroes such as Magnus, that has been buffed actually in this patch, for heroes such as Shaker, maybe Enigma, even though I think Enigma has been nerfed, Mirana, because you can get a good positioning. So in general, positionings are going to be a very important aspect in this patch. So this is how the Radiant mid tower has been altered, so it became very tight, very tidy. That means that positioning yourself as an enemy to Radiant. So if you're playing Dire, positioning yourself here, it's like blocking the entire lane with a Fissure or having a good opening is way easier than it was before. This is how the safe lanes tier 2 has been altered for the Radiant bot tier 2. This isn't that important, I would say, because like it doesn't change much. Yeah, it doesn't really change much, because you can TP here. Yeah, the high ground doesn't see you, but still, like, it's not going to change that much. But the trees here that have been changed, let's see how did they change the trees. There's way more spots to hide. That's good. So you basically can go through here like this, and then cut up a tree here and have a safe way out to the base. That's really good. You can juke around it, but like in general, that's not going to affect the game at all. Just for the positioning overall is going to become better again for the position 4. Let's say you are a position 4 player with Earthshaker. Your team is pushing the Dire's top tier 2 here. Your team is standing here pushing the tower, and the Dire team is pushing your tower here. So as a position 4, you just TP into jungle here. It's way harder to spot you if there is no hero like Beastmaster, because many skills right now have been fixed. They do not cut trees anymore, such as Power Shot. That means that as a position 4, you can just TP here and wait for your team to push the tower. You see that the towers are falling, and then you create an opening for your team. They TP in, meanwhile you jump in, you Echo Slam and so on, and delay the enemy to run away, and you get free kills for it. Basically, positioning and setting up the kills is going to be way easier in this patch. Let's look at the Dire top 2. Is exactly the same as the Radiant bot 2. So there's not really much changes. Yet again, better positioning due to the trees. Dire mid tier 2, it has been altered not that much. Better positioning for the Radiant supports to set up yet again. You cut this tree for an example, tower doesn't see, you stand here in the middle, and you have a good opening to jump and Echo Slam, or have a good arrow possibility and so on. Just a better overall game for position 3 and 4s. So that's it with the landscapes, I think. No, there's 2 towers left. Okay, so the Dire bot tier 2. Now that is the same as the Radiant top tier 2, exactly the same. They're making the Radiant side more similar to the Dire, so that there would be no disbalance between, because in the last patch you would like pick Radiant over Dire always, and it was like mostly in Dota, Radiant was always better than the Dire, mostly. But now you have the same possibilities on Radiant as you have on the Dire, so it's basically a mirror copy of the changes. Just a better way to set up as a support, and way harder for the enemy while he's pushing to have the possibility of checking all these trees and giving you the vision that the enemy is rotating. Dire mid has been not really altered that much. Yeah, only the trees have been changed here, so that's not a big change. I would say that's not even a change, like that doesn't change anything at all for the mid lane. Okay, so that's with the landscape. I'm going to show that more detail later on in the lobby. I'm going to go in the lobby. Let's go to more general updates. Now, they have introduced, they said that the terrain has been updated with various changes, and they added the new rune, the water power rune. Spawns at both rune locations only at minute 2 and 4. So that's basically to boost up the mid laners. So now the mid meta is going to be altered, since the position 4s are more active now, and they're going to be rotating. I think it would be a genuine good idea to have your position 3 buy a bottle, give early bottle, like at minute 130, and give it to your support position 4. Let's say it's an Earthshaker or an Earth Spirit, and he goes to control 1 rune. And you have an aggressive mid laner that buys bottle fast, such as SF, Queen of Pain, Storm, and or Puck, and they control the other rune. So if you, in this patch, if you don't give the enemy mid laner that needs the rune any runes in the starting game at minute 2 and 4, I think this game will be completely shut down. So basically, this patch mid lane is going to be even more active than it has been in the last patch. So heroes that can spam you a lot, damage you a lot in the beginning, and then have a bottle capability to just refill their HP and control the runes, or even kill you if you make a mistake, are going to be way more active in this patch. Way more actual. So they added the attributes again. They have deleted it several times from the game and they have added it again. It's not going to affect the game that much, but maybe for some carries it's going to be more genuine to consider skilling this than the talents, if the talents are really bad. But I cannot really, for example, like a Meepo maybe, Meepo, yeah, could be a viable choice. Because plus 14 to all attributes, because Meepo doesn't really have that much of important talents, but still, like, Meepo is one of the heroes that I can think of that would need this attribute. But in general, I don't think it's going to affect the game that much, and you wouldn't really skill it. You would aim to max out your spells anyway on most of the heroes and talents, and then you would think of attributes again. So level 30 no longer grants all remaining talents. Instead, the level 27 is going to grant you the level 10 talents, level 28 is going to grant you all of the level 15 talents, level 29 is going to grant you all of the level 20 talents, and level 30 will be the maximum that is going to allow you to skill the level 25 talents. That is better. I think that's a better mechanic, way better, because the leap that you had between 25 to level 30 is like insane, because 25 levels means that you're around like 35 minutes as a carry, and level 30 means that you're around like 50 minutes in the game. So like general time gap is around 10 to 15 minutes at least, and that's really a lot to consider that you're waiting for the next like power up for your hero. So yeah, this is an important change as well. So outposts no longer give you XP at 10, 20 and 30 times 30 minutes minute mark. It gives you the XP per minute now. So let's say it's the minute 2 of the game, it's going to be multiplied by 2, so it's going to give you 4 experience. Let's say it's minute 1, then it's going to give you 2 multiplied by 2, that's going to give you 2 experience. I think this is in general better, because as I saw in the game, the XP is more visible now, because the game, like, let's say if before you had the possibility to, let's say take the tier 2 tower really fast if your offlane is really strong, and you would take the tier 2 at around 15-16 minute mark, and the enemy would completely lose the experience that they would gain from the outpost. But now you're not able to negate that anymore, so if you are going to lose XP, you are not going to lose that much as you lost before. So I think even though the overall XP gain is lower than it was before, I think you're going to be still getting way more experience than you were before due to the outpost controls. So the bounty runes initial set are reduced by 10%. I think that's a good change, but still the gold, there's more gold in this patch than it was before due to the fact that the runes spawn every 3 minutes and not 5. Bounty runes are no longer spawning in the river. The amount these runes gave is now provided them automatically over through GPM. Yeah. So basically it works the same way as the XP works, right? So you had the bounty runes, the 2 bounty runes that were spawning, one nearby your entrance and the other one on the river. You're going to have 1 bounty rune only now, and the other one is going to be provided as a passive gold up. GPM increase. Bounty runes now spawn every 3 minutes in the respective jungle area. Total rune count reduced from 4 to 2. Yeah, so basically what I said before. Bounty runes no longer disappear when new ones spawn. That's an amazing thing to have, but I don't know how you're going to implement that in a game, because position force are really active now. So it's not like really viable to ignore the rune and not take it and then have like a double bottle stack for your offlaner or mid laner, but still, maybe it is. But I think in general, position force are going to be so active in this patch that it's not viable to just stack up to 2 bounty runes. But anyway, at minute 0, bounty runes spawn in the jungle at the top tower rune locations, 4 total at the start of the game. So basically, on the normal rune spawns, the 2 bounty runes spawn, and the 2 bounties as well, one on the Radiant Triangle and the Dire Triangle. Various cast ranges and movement speed talents, items abilities have been replaced or toned down. These are included in line with the item and tier sections below. Hero kill assist gold now adjusts based on the relative net worth difference between the two teams. For example, if your team is down 5,000 gold and the enemy has 50,000 total net worth, your assist gold will be worth 10% more. That is an amazing change because that gives you way more comeback potential, as I saw. And if you're a team that is like, let's say you're ahead by the net worth for like 5,000, the next fight that if you're going to lose it, of course, is going to like differentiate the gold and bring it at least to the 0 difference, or it's going to be even more. There is a really good comeback potential that they introduced because in the last patch you didn't have that. Heroes now start the game with 1 TP scroll rather than 3. I think that's better, but in general that's better for the supports again, not for the cores. And you gain 1 TP scroll on death as well. So for position 4 it's more viable to trade for a kill now, because you will always have a TP and you won't have to waste gold for it. So for supports and for position 4s, it's way more viable now to trade for the kill. TP scroll cost has been increased, and yet again that's going to affect the core heroes. That's not going to affect the supports as much because they like to die anyway. Heroes with 1.0 turn rate now have 0.9 turn rate, so this is basically just the turn rate changes. Yeah, now one of the important changes is that Aghanim Scepter Roshan drop now requires you to activate it rather than to just pick it up. Has no effect till consumed. That is a good change because accidentally you'd have someone pick it up and activate. Aghanim Shard now drops from the second Rosh kill as well, and only that one has the same activation mechanics as the Scepter drop, so you have to activate it as well, yeah. It's not going to just randomly activate when you pick it up. Yes, so this is what I was talking about. Increase the building teleportation range from 575 to 800. Affects TP scrolls and boosts of travel. Outpost teleport base channel time reduced from 6 to 5 seconds. Outpost vision reduced from 700 to 500. That is amazing, because now due to the change to the TP scroll range, you have a way better possibility to set up kills on the map. Okay, so just a moment. Alright, so let's continue. Captain's mode initial picking phase has been changed. That is going to affect the competitive scene a bit. Not really going to change anything for the pubs. Hoodwink added to the captain's mode. I think they shouldn't have added that hero yet. I think it needs more fixes because it's truly OP at the moment as a position 4. One of the heroes that can zone your carry and not even be afraid of trading with you because the animation of the hit is completely insane. And the damage that the hero has is really good, and the spells in overall have very viable way of using them. Like for example, with it stacks with almost any position 3. So now let's go to the next change. This is going to be couriers no longer have vision when inside Roshan speed. That's amazing, but you can still check the rush speed. If they are taking the rush, you just send the courier in. Smart people are not going to kill that courier, not to show you that they're rushing, but generally people just press right click, so they may accidentally anyway kill your courier. Wards can now be denied from full health by any allied player. That's amazing because you cannot ruin games in pubs anymore, let's say that at least. You cannot block the camps. Second thing you cannot do is, if you see that your support is on the top side or top lane and he blocked the hard camp for you so that the enemy cannot pull, and you see that you're zoning the enemy and you really don't need that camp, it's just bonus gold for you to farm when you're pushing the lane, you just unblock it and farm it as a carry. Ancient neutral camps creeps armor increased by 1. That's going to affect the carries. That's really unnecessary change because the farming has been nerfed already. But yet again they want to slow down the pace of the game, but due to the bounty changes and the XP changes, I think they actually even they increased the pace of the game by like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to be explaining that detail a bit later on. Neural items now fly towards the killing hero. That is a good change. Hero bank count for matchmaking increased by 6, still chance based. That is a normal change. Buyback cost reduced from 200 plus net worth divided by 12 to 200 plus net worth divided by 13. There is a really good change, because the buyback was really expensive in the last patch, but I think I would even increase it to like 14 to 15, Maybe, because I remember the meta in 2018-19 was that people would just buybacks, like OG did in the competitive scene. They would just buyback and set up a good fight depending on their buyback. But now, yeah, the buyback costs less, but still, I would still reduce it because for like a year and a half at least, we didn't have a patch where buybacking would be a viable option for the cores to do in the middle of the fight. Courier spawn time reduced from 60 plus 7 level to 60 plus 6. It's like not really important. Backdoor protection damage reduction increased from 40% to 50%. That's good. It's going to be harder to push the towers. Hero to hero item transfer range increased from 150 to 300. That's amazing because like you look at it and it's not really that general of an update, right? As it looks on the first look, but actually it's really good because, for example, you can TP into the jungle yet again on safe lane and your carry has dropped the items, right? And it's like some important item, let's say it's boots, and it gives you the capability to kill the enemy offlaner, and the offlaner is like, hey, he doesn't have boots, he won't die. I mean, he doesn't have boots, he won't be able to kill me. But you transfer the items to your carry from the jungle. You don't even need to be close to him. The offlaner doesn't see that. He doesn't check the inventory of the carry every 3 seconds. And he's like surprised when you go on him with the boots on the carry and you just kill him. So that's going to be easier to set up the unexpected kills now on the lane. Not going to really change much for like really high MMR games, but still really viable thing to do. True respawn interval reduced from 5 to 3 minutes. That is amazing. So what they're doing here is that they're reducing the spells that can cut down the trees, and they're decreasing the time for the tree spawn yet again for position 4s and for position 3s to be more viable in this patch. Let's say for a Magnus, Enigma, Shaker to have better initiation, better positioning capabilities than they had before. Shared tangos now expire after 40 seconds. Tango pulling has been removed from the strategy phase UI. So basically you cannot pull your mid laner tangos anymore. That is really good change, I like that. So let's go to general item updates anyway. They removed Necronomicon. That is, I wouldn't say it's a good change necessarily. I would just fix the Necro book because some heroes, for example, are really tough to play without the Necro book. Let's say, for example, Beastmaster, right? Beastmaster was really dependent on Necro book, starting from the earliest days of the Dota. But still, they removed the Necro book, so we cannot do anything with it for now. I think the Dominator is going to become way more viable for heroes like Beastmaster, heroes like Lycan maybe, even though Lycan I think is a physical hero at the moment. Satanic cooldown reduced from 35 to 25, that is good. Unholy Rage can no longer be dispelled. Unholy Rage now applies a better basic dispel on cast. That is an amazing change because Satanic was completely useless item in the last patch compared to the Tarrasque that gave you a passive regeneration of around 80 to 90 HP per second on any carry hero, almost any carry hero. But now Satanic looks viable because if you play against some silences you can just have a fast Satanic build, except of like going to Manta in later game if you don't want to buy Manta or BKB and have a Satanic that dispels you instead. Mana region of Battle Fury reduced and Crypt Cleave damage reduced from 50% to 40%. I don't think that's a really big change because like 50 to 40% it isn't that much of a leap, so they didn't really nerf Battle Fury. Yeah, it is still a pretty visible, like you're going to feel that change, but it's not going to be that much anyway. Stun duration reduced from 175 to 1.5 on Meteor Hammer, building damage per second increased from 50 to 60. So this is not a really important change, so let's go back to the battlefield again. Yeah, so basically what happened here is that they nerfed the cleave, but let's say this patch is going to be way faster faced because of the position 4s that are going to be active on the map and the capability of setting up kills on the map and the need to control the bounty runes every 3 minutes except of every 5 minutes. So the game in general becomes way faster faced, you have way more gold, way more experience, and you have way more action on the map because of the runes that you need to control to keep up the constant flow of the gold and the experience and the domination on the map overall. So Battle Fury is already a bad item in this patch. You don't want to buy Battle Fury in this patch, you want to buy Maelstrom in this patch, and I'm going to show you later on why exactly Maelstrom is way better now than it was before. No longer has a blink effect on Abyssal Blade, now a melee ability like it was before. That's a big nerf. Abyssal Blade is going to become less viable for many carries, and many carries are going to become less viable because of the Abyssal change. Movement speed reduced from 70 to 65 on Tranquil Boots, not really important. Cast range, not really important on Eels. Same on Wind Waker. Nerfing the Boots of Travel is really good because it was way too overpowered. Now that the Boots of Travel level 2 is nerfed as well, that's really good as well, but no one really bought that item because it's way too expensive. I think I would reduce the cost of the second Boots of Travel's recipe by 1000, and then it would be one of the most viable items. No longer ignores movement speed limit, the Swift Blink. That is amazing because every carry could have a 700 movement speed in the late game, and that was really annoying. For the supports at least. Cast range bonus reduced from 250 to 225 on Aetherlands, and cast range bonus reduced from 250 to 25 on Octarine Core as well. So yeah, that's not really going to change much. Oops. Let's go to the patch again. Weep. Go down. Oh yeah, here. So yeah, the sentry ward's gold has been altered, it costs less now, but the true sight vision is a little bit lower, so easier for supports to play yet again. Amazing patch for supports, completely amazing for now. Melee illusions incoming damage reduced from 350% to 300%, ranged illusions incoming damage reduced from 400% to 300%, same as melee. Cooldown for range arrows reduced from 45 to 30, same as melee. Basically this patch brings back the ranged heroes meta to buy Manta, because before you wouldn't buy that, because Ninja Dasher was so much better. But now on heroes like Towerblade, Manta is more viable because the illusions receive less damage. They have, he has lower cooldown. Luna is going to be more active. Basically every illusion hero becomes better with this patch. Luna, Naga, and Towerblade are the most main heroes that are going to be affected by this change. Armor increased from 5 to 6 on Helm of Iron Will, not really much that is going to be changed by that, but yet again Dominator is going to be an amazing item in this patch, so every offlaner is going to be buying Dominator, I'm pretty sure. Armor increased from 5 to 6 on Armlet of Marigian, active health strain reduced from 50 to 40, good item for strength heroes now. Cost reduced from 900 to 800 in energy boosting, not a really important change, not really important change of vitality booster as well. Yeah, cost of the Tarrasque has been increased by 400. I think they should have increased it even more because the item is clearly overpowered. Not really important two changes. Yeah, now the important change is the BKB cooldown has been increased from 70 to 75. Not really important, not really that important. The important thing is that the duration rescaled from 10.98765 to 9.876. So generally 1 second in the late game actually means a lot, even though it doesn't look that important. So that 1 second is going to be a really good change. I like that about the BKB as a carry player myself. Duration reduced from 30 to 25. Nice, they fixed clarities. Cost increased from 625 to 675, mana regen reduced on bottle, and HP regen reduced. Not a really important change, but still going to be like 1 creep harder to get a bottle on the beginning stages. Now maybe you will even miss the minute 2 runes, if you don't rush it on the many heroes. Not really important changes here. Skip that. Mana regen aura increased. Yeah, not really much for changes. These items aren't going to be viable anyway, because they haven't been altered that much. Force Staff is a really good item now, so heroes like Ench are going to become more viable due to the Fluffy Hat, Force Staff, giving you more health stats. And the Pike of course as well, giving you more intelligence, giving you more health, is going to be a bit more viable. Diffusal Blade is one of the best items I think in this patch. Meta break damage per mana burn decreased from 80% to 100%, mana break on melee illusions reduced from 16 to 12. But agility increased from 20 to 24, intelligence increased from 10 to 12, so a really viable item in this patch. Recipe changed the medallion, crown, windlace, and 900 gold recipe. Yeah, so they basically, Soul Crest has been transformed from a really good item, from a good item to an insanely good item for offlaners at the moment, because the cost has been reduced drastically. And the effects aren't fixed that much, so Solar Crest is a really viable option to consider as a position 3. Like Dominator, Solar Crest, and which item was it again? There are Armlet, no, Armlet isn't really gonna be built by position 3s, but in general like Dominator and Solar Crest are going to be the main items for the offlaners. The Vanguard blockchain is increased, that's not going to affect the game that much. Not really important 5 gold changes, I don't know why they're in the game. HP regen increased on Bracer, not important, because it's not going to be bought anyway. Attack speed reduced on Changing Yasha, so basically they nerfed Changing Yasha, Yasha and Kaya. They buffed Kaya itself from plus 24% to plus 50%. This is going to make the game yet again more active for mid laners, such heroes as Storm. Maybe Storms will start buying the Kaya first item again, except for the Orchid. Kaya and Senj mana amp increased, and Kaya Yasha Kaya mana amp increased as well. Dragonlance is viable item as well. 2 agility change doesn't seem that much, but yet again it's really good change for the carries now because the patch has been altered. If Terrorblade, let's say in the last patch, wanted to buy a Senji the Asher first item because he couldn't fight till like minute 15 anyway, then you would consider buying Dragonlance to this patch with power threats and fighting at like minute 10 because the runes spawn more often and the tower controlling of towers is more important now. And fighting earlier. Because of the phase of the game changing and becoming more active, the Dragonlance is going to become more viable, Diffusion is going to be a more viable item as well. Mana cost reduced of mechanism from 200 to 100, Mage Slayer's cost reduced, and Blade Mail's cost has been reduced. Echo Saber has been buffed, that is a good item, but yet again Echo Saber is still not a viable item because you cannot really build anything after you buy the Echo Saber, so cannot really do anything with the Echo Saber. Cooldown reduced, maybe for some limited amount of heroes like Slark, they would be really good. Cooldown reduced from 28 to 25 on Shadowblade. Yeah, they want to bring back Shadowblade, but that's not really enough to bring the Shadowblade back into the game. Divine Rapier no longer provides True Strike, that is a drastic change. For heroes like Terrorblade, Naga, buying Butterfly is going to be even more important now, since MKB doesn't give you 100% hit chance. So yeah, now we go back to the Maelstrom and Jolnir in general, why these items are way better now. So Chain Lightning does more damage and the Static Charge does more damage. As I said again, the illusion carries are going to be really good in this patch. So basically Naga, TB, Luna with the Manta are going to be really like drastic heroes in this patch. Manta anti-mage. And heroes like, let's say Void with them Jolnir are going to be really good in this patch against all these illusion carries, or a Juggernaut with them Jolnir, except of the Battle Fury because the phase of the game has been altered as well, and buying a Maelstrom is way easier than just buying a Battle Fury in this patch. Soul Ring cost has been reduced. That is really good. Many offlaners are going to start buying Soul Ring now. Quelling Blade bonus damage reduced. Not a really drastic change, 1 damage is not going to change anything. Witchblade Poison attack now has True Strike, that is an amazing change. Not really important changes later on. The cooldown reduction of Hex is really good for 2 seconds, but it's not really that drastic. So here comes the big bang change. The Dagon cast range has been increased to 700 and recipe cost reduced. This is a good change, but still not as drastic, so it's not going to change much. Bloodthorn recipe cost reduced, that is good, but the items still cost way too much. Let's go to the neutral item update. So Royal Jelly has been removed from the game. Was expected because the item was completely overpowered. Let's say one team got a jelly and the other one didn't. The one team with the jelly was allowed to give it to the carry, and carry wouldn't have to buy, except let's say 10 clarities, he would have to buy 3 only. And he would have the same amount of regen as the 10 clarity on the opposite team. So the item was clearly overpowered. Just a minute and we'll continue shortly. So yeah. Now the Broom Handle damage increase is really good. Ocean Heart was overpowered before, but they're buffing it again. I don't understand that because the item is clearly way too strong for the starting levels. Chipped Vest has been buffed as well. I don't understand that either because Chipped Vest is basically one of the best items for the carries now for farming. Trusty Shovel now drops an enchanted mango instead of a TP scroll. I think mango is even better than the TP scroll right now. So that's actually a good change for the supports. Imp Claw has been changed, the Philosopher's Stone, basically all the neutral items, but I'm going to focus mainly on the ones that actually mean something. So it's basically Quicksilver Amulet has been one of the best items for the carries, such as, let's say, Slark, Terrorblade, that always have a spell on a cooldown, but now it's weaker than it was before. Yeah, attack speed is higher, but the movement speed was generally what were people aiming for. Actually, the animation has been changed, so maybe for a hero like Terrorblade this is super good. Yeah, like Terrorblade or Slark can be really good with the Quicksilver Amulet now. Mightbreaker has been really buffed, 12 seconds of cooldown on Silence is really drastic. Psychic Advent has been buffed for heroes such as Invoker and so on. Lina is going to be good. Alvin Tunic not really important, Spider Legs not really important. Paladin Sword spell life still is meh. Not going to change anything. So we go here. We have Levelier with the +5 armor and attack speed reduced. Not really good because carries would rather prefer taking a ninja gear anyway than a Levelier or some other item. So it's not really a good change for the item. This is a really good change. I didn't notice that the invisibility from Trickster Cloak now provides phase movement. That is going to be a really good change for the heroes that need positioning, maybe on position 3. Penta Edge Sword has been buffed, that is good, plus attack range. Okay, let's go to the hero updates, because there were no real drastic updates to the neutral items. Just a little changes to make them more balanced. Health regen has been buffed, Shard upgrade, Mist Call and the Photic Shield cooldowns by 1 second. Backswing reduced from 0.7 to 0.4, that is really good. Backswing reduced on a Photic Shield, that is good as well. Not really drastic changes, just a little edits for the Abaddon. They are fixing the Alchemist again. That's good, because the hero was completely broken in the last patch. I'm glad there will be less of Alchemist, but they wouldn't pick Alchemist even if they didn't nerf it in this patch, because this patch is going to be super active. The timings in this patch are basically like 10 to 15 minutes faster than they were in the last patch before. So if in general on a Terrorblade you expected to have 6 slots at minute 35, I'm expecting to have 6 slots on minute 25 now as a Terrorblade. Due to the jungle changes, the overall faster phase and the bounty availability on the map. Reward Shard upgrade for now, causes Blink to a +300 range and reduces cooldown by 2. This is a really good change for the Anti-Mage. But Anti-Mage yet again is going to be less viable due to the fact of Battle Fury being nerfed and the fact that game phase is going to be more active. It's going to be still viable in pubs, but in pro games in general, I think you pick Anti-Mage, you instantly lose a game if enemy team is like, oh, team OG. They just pick a Juggernaut and just die, like, completely out-dive you on the map. Arc Warden has been changed a bit, but yet again, Arc Warden is going to be a creep in this patch. Attack point reduced from 0.5 to 0.4 on Axe, after upgrade cooldown reduction. Not really drastic changes. Yeah, so basically Shard on Bane has been changed. Bane's Shard now gives you an AoE on Brain Sap. That is really good. Because the hero in the middle game didn't have any chance of outpushing creeps, now he has a chance of outpushing creeps. Batrider has been changed. They tried to buff him a bit, but it's still not going to be a viable hero, maybe on offlane, but I still doubt it. Beastmaster base armor increased by 1. Dive Bomb Shard no longer grants free Hulk control and so on, so Beastmaster's Axe are going to be buffed. So basically Beastmaster is becoming more viable due to the first spell, the Boars and the Necrobook, so the gameplay is going to change on the hero. He's not going to be depending on summons that much anymore, but rather than, let's say, like a Face Boots Dominator, Beastmaster is going to be a meta in this patch. Bloodseeker is getting buffed a bit. This is like a change that doesn't really give anything to the Bloodseeker. I don't know why they buff it. They should buff spells like his third spell. They should buff his third spell to give more movement speed, or they should buff his first spell to give some damage. Like, this is not really a viable change. I don't know. Like, the ulti doesn't really give Bloodseeker anything, but maybe a position 3 Bloodseeker could be a bit more viable now. Rewalk Shard, Shadow Walk, upgrade on Bounty Hunter. That is good, because Bounty Hunter I think is going to be a viable hero in this patch due to the fact that you need to control almost all the bounty heroes on the map every 3 minutes. And Bounty gives you the capability to, like, have bonus gold from the track, and bonus gold in this patch means that it's going to be really important because game phase is faster and there's going to be way more fights than it was in the last patch. Brewmaster, unnecessary changes, not really changing anything. Base mana regen increased from 0 to 0.25. Good changes for the Bristleback. They're trying to bring the hero back a bit into the game, on the starting levels at least. Broodmother, agility increased by 4. I don't know why you would buff this hero, because the hero was clearly overpowered in the last patch as well, but now that hero is even more broken. Incapacitating Bite, his third spell, basically, if you didn't know, the one that you hit you and you had the mischance, has been removed from the game. It is replaced by Silk and Bola. It's now a basic ability and slows enemies by 25, 35, 45, 55% for 6 seconds. It's an AoE spell that deals a fixated amount of damage on impact and then damage per hit when you hit the target. It's being slowed in AoE. I think this is a way better spell than he had before. Spawn Sparkle Links now is not a active ability, it's an ultimate ability now. I think that is good, but still the Brood is unwinnable on the laning stage at the moment because of the fact that she just has Insatiable Hunger as a basic ability. Like, I don't know how could you even think of that, because it really doesn't even cost any mana. Hero already has an insane HP regen because of the Spin Web, which count has been, by the way, increased as well. Movement speed has been a bit nerfed, but like that's not really drastic when you have more webs. Plus you have the capability of having healing from creeps to full HP, basically. When you're down to 100, it's like, it's way too strong. So Brood is going to be even more viable than it was in the last patch, even though people last picked the hero in the last patch, it was that broken. They are buffing Centaur. I like this, one of my favorite heroes in position 3. This hero should be more viable in this patch as well because of the fact that he has Stampede that gives you a lot in the beginning of the game, and an Initiation with the fast dagger. Really good hero in this patch, going to be at least a really good hero, and really viable in the Pro Dota as well. CK has been buffed, but that's not really a big changes. Like, why does a CK need a cleave on level 15? I would never understand that. Like, that's a completely useless talent and you will never take it. Chen is being buffed a bit. That is great. Dominator has been buffed, and now Dominator allows you to take 2 creeps. They upgraded Dominator, except of 1. So it's going to be amazing for the heroes like Chen. Chen is going to come back more to the meta, and she's going to come back more to the meta. Basically a basic patch for summoner heroes at this moment. Okay, let's continue now. Kling's strength attribute has been altered. That is good, but the overall strength gain has been nerfed. That is not good. Strafe cost has been increased, skeleton walk has been decreased, and the burning army, so basically scatter upgrade has been buffed as well. But like, why would you nerf this hero? It needs so much buff. Like, Kling's needs so much buff to be a viable hero in this patch that I don't know. Maybe in this patch he will actually be viable because of the fact that the game is so active, but still he's like so squishy. And he's still really weak in comparison to heroes like Terrorblade, Naga. Imagine you're playing against the Terrorblade. I mean, Terrorblade, yeah, can be really easily countered due to the Strife and the projectiles missing, but like, you play against Naga, what the hell are you going to do as a Kling's? Maybe you're going to buy Maelstrom, yeah, but like Naga will have the Manta at that point already, because this patch provides so much gold. Like, things isn't going to be viable. He needs more buffs for this hero to be viable. Jetpack Clock has been buffed a bit, or nerfed. Yeah, his charge has been nerfed because it was really broken, but I think they need to nerf it even more. They actually buffed it, the cooldown. What the hell? The jetpack is broken already. Why? Okay. Unnecessary changes. Now rework charge now allows you to move during the freezing field. So basically ultimate. When CM casts ultimate, you're able to move and cast spells. Not a really big change. Not really going to change much, but still good. Damage interval increase. So basically they nerfed, let's say, Iron Shell a bit. Yeah. But Darkseer is going to be still a very viable hero in this patch due to the fact of heroes like... Due to the fact of game phase being really fast and the heroes like... which heroes can we say that are really viable with the Darkseer? Like Urshika being really good in position 4, you can make some combos with it. Earth Spirit with Vacuum on the early game, like really viable hero now. Oops, we missed the page. Moment. Oh yeah. Now, where we were, here. Willow has been buffed on the HP regen, has been buffed on the Shadow Realm as well. Damage rescaled on Bramble Maze. I don't know why you would buff this hero, because it was clearly too strong if you know how to play that hero in the last patch as well, but yet again, unnecessary changes. Turn rate for Dazzle improved. I like that, because the hero was completely not viable in the last patch. Maybe Dazzle will even be a core in this patch, like position 3 or a position 2 even. Due to the fact of Dazzle having a great capability of harassing the enemy mid laner at the beginning or harassing the enemy carry as a position 3, Dazzle can be a really viable hero due to these changes. Pretty drastic changes, by the way. Attack point reduced on DP, base damage reduced, movement speed reduced. Yeah, thank god they nerfed movement speed on this hero, it was completely overpowered. Now this change is yet again to be found out if it's good or not, but I think it's not that strong. Other changes are not really that drastic. Not really important of a change on Disruptor. But still, the hero has been buffed, so that means that this hero is going to become even more viable as a position 5, due to the fact that the Darkseer is going to be viable in this patch as well, the Centaur and so on, so heroes basically that give him the possibility to set up some fights. Doom's armor has been buffed from 0 to 3, that is a really insane buff for the hero. Like 0 armor means that you're not going to have any damage reduction, but 3 armor already means like that you're going to have at least like 15 to 20% of damage reduction. That's already insane. That's a very big buff for the hero. Even though other spells have been nerfed a bit, still the hero has been really drastically buffed. They are trying to buff Dragon Knight a bit, but I think Dragon Knight might be a viable hero in this patch due to the fact that he can push towers really early on. So as a position 3, position 2, DK might be a really good viable choice. But still, like heroes like Centaur on position 3, Darkseer are going to be way stronger than the DK. Because he doesn't really have an ability to pressure enemy carry, and pressuring enemy carry and like creating early action is going to be the main goal in this patch, rather than just having the ability to push towers. Because almost any hero on offlane, like Centaur, has the ability to push towers as well, but it's more viable in the game overall. Yeah, they're trying to buff Drow a bit, but I think Drow is going to be a creep in this patch and she's not going to be viable at all. They are nerfing Earth Spirit. That is unexpected, because the hero wasn't that much of a shock in the last patch. But okay, but it's still going to be a good hero. Even though they are fixing him, trying to fix him, he's still going to be a really viable hero. Earthshaker, Enchant Totem no longer grants a choice strike, no longer gets consumed if the attack misses, Scepter leap range reduced, and Scepter no also provides plus 40% cleave. I don't know why would you change that, but actually, because of the fact that the gold income has been buffed, the Shaker might be a really good position 3 in this patch, and the fact that the illusion heroes are going to be viable in this patch, like TB, Luna with Manta, and the Naga Siren. The Earthshaker position 3 I think is going to be the main hero on position 3 for the competitive scene. Earthshaker and the Centaur are going to be like 2 most important heroes on position 3 in the next patch. I think Earthshaker is something to be discovered yet for the pro teams for the next DPC season, but I think Earthshaker is going to be the most drastic, like, new hero that is going to be introduced into the Pro Dota, upcoming Pro Dota games. Elder Titan has been nerfed a bit, not really drastic. Ember Spirit is being buffed. Oh yes! Ember Spirit needed some buffs because his laning stage was really not that good. Now that you have Flame Guard lasting 14 seconds on level 2, you can actually forget maxing the Flame Guard and just keep it on level 1 or 2 and just farm that way. That's amazing, I like that. Now Ember Spirit, due to the fact that Ember Spirit is really active hero, is going to be really viable in this patch, and the fact that you have Flame Guard, the only ability that gave you any comeback potential, is buffed as well on the starting levels, is really big. This hero is going to be really viable in this patch. Ember is going to be one of the main mid laners, I would say, even in this patch. Slow increased on Enchantress. As I said again, a really good patch for summoner heroes. What the Valve is showing here, they buffed Ench, they buffed Chen. They want people to play heroes like Ench and Chen, and replace and for people not to miss the fact that the Necrobook has been removed from the game. So they're basically trying to, like, yeah, we removed the Necrobook from the game, but we brought back Enchantress, we buffed Enchantress, we buffed the Chen, we buffed the Dominator, now it allows you to take 2 creeps, the level 2 Dominator, I mean. So, hey guys, forget that the Necrobook has been removed, because we give you new possibilities to have the heroes that have any summoning capabilities. So Enigma is being nerfed, thank god. Not that much of a viable choice of position 3 anymore, because before you could deny 2 creeps, now you can deny only 1. And the second range is going to be definitely last hit. That is really good. Faithless Void, base armor increased, backswing reduced on time dilation. Now time dilation deals damage depending on the skills that have been in the cooldown on the enemy. Damage increased on time lock, chronosphere, cast range reduced, backswing reduced from 0.7 to 0.35. Amazing change, because basically it gives you the capability to cast the chronosphere almost instantly without any animation. Radius increased and the cast range reduced from 600 to 500. Amazing change for the Void. The Void is going to be a viable hero in this patch. I think one of the most viable carry heroes in this patch. Because, let's say, Terrorblade is a viable hero, Naga is a very viable hero, Morphling is a very viable hero, even though the shift requires mana now, but you have this new talent introduced that attribute shift allows you to be used in the stun on level 25. Even though the games aren't even really going to be lasting till level 25, I think. Mostly in this patch. But Juggernaut, Terrorblade, Morphling. No, let's say it like this, like Terrorblade, Naga, Luna with the Manta style is going to be viable heroes with illusions, and you'll have several heroes that are going to be against those heroes, good against those heroes with them. Jolnir, let's say, would be Void. The first one is going to be Void, Jugger, and Morphling is going to be overall good in the patch. Yeah, let's go back to the patch again. Somehow it brings me to the last, not the last patch, for whatever the reason, all the time. Okay, so where we were again? Void, yeah. Now, Void is going to be one of the best carries, as I said again. So if you want like a tier list from me for heroes, like on which position the heroes are going to be viable in this patch, on position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you should tell me that, and I can create a tier list for the heroes that should be played in this patch. If you want, I can create a detailed tier list for the heroes that would be better in this patch. Grimstroke has been buffed a bit, not really drastic, even though the Grimstroke is going to be a really viable hero due to the fact that illusion heroes are going to be strong, like Terrorblade, Naga don't really feel good. Ouch. What happened here? This is not what I wanted. Okay, how do we go back? Okay, this is how we go back. Alright, just a moment. Okay, now let's continue with the patch. Okay, here we were. Not really drastic changes to the Hoodwink, a bit of fixes, a bit of nerfs, but the hero is going to be completely overpowered when she's going to be played on position 4 on the pro scene. That's going to be the main hero that is going to be banned on the first phase, I'm pretty sure. Huskar has been buffed a bit, not really going to affect this game, even though actually a position 2 Huskar can be really good due to the fact that you harass the enemy mid laner. It might be really viable actually, the Huskar mid laner. Reworked shard upgrade to an Invoker causes 2 extra Chaos Meteors to land alongside the primary cast at slight angles. Good change, because the shard before was completely useless. And now you have the ability with Invoker to not even have like a need to start the fight by usage of a tornado to set up a combo. You can just jump in with a blink dagger, use meteors, 3 meteors fall down, you use blast, you just throw everyone back and you just do as much damage as possible. So now damage has been reduced. So basically the damage regen output has been reduced on the Quas and Exhort, but now they give you intelligence per instance, so per level. On the spell, the Exhort gives you intelligence and the Quas gives you strength, which is way better for the Invoker in general than it was before. Even though the passive damage increase and passive regen increase has been changed a bit, but that is not as drastic as the change on Quas and Exhort giving you intelligence and strength. So Exhort Invoker is going to be one of the best things that is going to be played in this patch. IO has been nerfed, thank god. This hero is not that viable anymore, but still there weren't that much changes, like that drastic of changes, so hero is still, as I think, not as strong as it was before, but like still almost as strong as it was before, so really viable hero still, considering the fact that the Dominator has been buffed. Juggernaut now provides spell immunity during the Omni Slash, attack rate multiplier reduced, and mana cost increased on Swift Slash, and range reduced on Swift Slash by a bit. Not really big changes, but the Mjolnir Juggernaut is going to be a literal beast in this patch. That is a thing to remember. Keeper of the Light has been buffed a bit. Oh, the Illuminate now causes to heal people depending on when you are in the spirit form. It doesn't need Aghanim's anymore. Oh my. That is a big change, and that is a really good change. Keeper of the Light is going to be in the patch as well. I mean, viable hero as a position 5-4. Base HP regen increased on Kunkka, agility gain increased. Kunkka, they're trying to bring back Kunkka a bit into the patch. I think he will be a viable mid laner. Like, not an S tier mid laner in this patch, but still a viable mid laner. A good position 3 hero now is going to be Legion Commander due to the fact that you need to pressure the enemy carry now, and Legion is really good at doing that, plus the shard has been reworked. Now you can give any of your teammates the magic immunity for 1.75 seconds. Basically that means if they are affected by some spell and they're dying, you just give them immunity and they just run away and retreat. Plus they are getting killed at the same moment, and the cooldown has been reduced on it. So a really viable position 3 hero that has early pressure on the lane, and later on in the game provides the capability of having reliable disable. The fact that Aghanim's has been buffed, and now you allow your teammates to hit anyway, even though the damage reduction is 50%. It's going to be a really viable position 3 hero. Lashrak has been buffed, really good buffs. Hero has been brought back into the patch a bit. This is, I think, one of the most viable mid laners. I think even an S tier mid laner in this patch is going to be Lashrak. Leech is really strong in this patch. Right? Primary target damage reduced. Area damage increased. Mana cost increased. Shard health increased. Talent from 90 frost damage to 125. Yeah, sure. Leech can be a really good hero in position 5 now. Lifestealer has been brought back to the game, thank God. That's what I said in the last patch. For a Lifestealer to be viable as a carry hero again, they actually need to bring back the percentage steal or HP percentage steal for the hero again, and that's what they exactly did. They brought the max health into the damage for the Lifestealer. Nice. Very good change for the Lifestealer itself. It's going to be one of the most viable carries in this patch, I think. Even though, actually, I take my boards back because the heroes like Terribly are going to be in the patch, Naga is going to be in the patch, and heroes like Lifestealer really... And Juggernaut is going to be in the patch, Void is going to be in the patch, so heroes like Lifestealer will really be thrown back on the second plan. Because you can never man fight Lifestealer, a Terrorblade with Lifestealer. Doesn't matter which type of items you have. If you don't have like a 10k or 15k advantage by the network. Yeah, the hero has been buffed, but the meta needs to change for this hero to be viable, I think, in this patch, because the illusion heroes are going to be way too strong now. Light Strike Array Lina has been buffed a bit. Good changes for Laguna Blades, good overall changes for Lina. The like, knowing the fact that the Lina is one of the most annoying mid laners to stay against, the fact that she harasses you all the time, knowing that, I think it's really solid that the hero receives such buffs. And the fact that the bottle has been altered and now bottle gives you a regen, I think this hero is going to become even more viable than it was before. Rework shard upgrade for Lion, they're trying to buff him a bit, and now you can give the mana to your teammates. That is an amazing change. So let's imagine a Medusa. You have a Medusa with, let's say, a Manta style. That is a really valuable item for the range heroes at the moment and gives you more farming potential with the split shot. And you have this strong Medusa standing in front of you, and you just suck the mana into her, let's say it like that. And you give her the mana. Like, I don't think any hero is capable of bringing down Medusa at that point when she's getting the mana from the Lion. And let's say she has a Skadi that you cannot even reach the backlane while Medusa is hitting you. So a really good change for heroes that require the mana, actually. Lone Druid has been Shard now also applies a basic dispel on you, and the Spirit Burst now also causes you to roar to happen on both locations regardless of the casting state on another side. Well, not really important changes, not really going to do much for the Lone Druid. Luna has been buffed. Shard no longer increases stun duration, Shard no longer provides you with movement speed, but the Shard, initial Shard, releases up to 2 random attacks on the target radius of 500 on the target location. That means that the Luna is going to be like... Let's imagine a Luna with Skadi Butterfly that just uses a beam into no vision and throws like 2 of projectiles that each deal like 200 damage. For supports is going to be insane. She is going to just go on a high ground, keep spamming these beams and just damage everyone around, and no one will be even able to go close to her. Lycan has been, agility gain has been increased. Like Lycan has been nerfed due to the fact that Necrobook has been removed, but the Lycan that we knew before has been removed from the game, let's put it like that. The Lycan that is now is going to be the Lycan that was back in 2015, when you had the Lycan with Armlet of Mordigan, Desolator, and that was just running around and wrecking you to death. So a Lycan with right clicks, with Armlet first item build, with Power Tread is going to be a viable hero now. Not even a viable hero, but one of the best heroes, I think. Magnus has been buffed because he was a complete potato in the last patch. So they brought back Magnus a bit, really good. I like that. Because of the fact that the position 3 now is going to be a really good initiator hero, some initiator hero, I think Magnus is going to be a really viable position 3 hero in this patch. So that's a good thing to know. Mars intelligence gain increased from 1.6 to 2.2, agility gain reduced from 1.9 to 1.7. Mars has been nerfed a bit. No, actually he's been buffed a bit. Well, actually it's hard to define whether he's been buffed or nerfed. But the hero still stays very viable due to the fact that he's an initiator. Yet again, there are too many heroes that can be viable in this patch and many heroes that are not viable at all, so I will need to know if you want me to do any type of like tier list for the heroes and positions. So if you do, just let me know, I will do the tier list for the heroes. Base HP regen increased for Duza from 0 to 0.25. Yet again, I said that the hero with Manta is going to be really strong, so Duza with the Manta is going to be really viable in this patch. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Duza in this patch. Collision size reduced. Basically this means that the heroes aren't going to be like stepping into each other. Not stepping into each other, but bumping into each other that on a big range now, but it's going to be way closer now. That's good for the Meepo. That means the DPS is going to be increasing on you because of the hit animation. Reworked chart now allows hit proof to allies within max range of 2000. That is really good. That is really good. But in general, as a Meepo, you don't aim to have a game where you aim for minute 20 to give you such a small upgrade, because at minute 20 I think as Meepo in this patch you will have like 4 slots, at least 4 to 5 slots, because of the fact of the net worth and GPM overall income increase. Monkey King has been nerfed because he was the god of last patch, literally. But the fact that there are less spells that can cut the trees, now it's actually viable to still play Monkey King with a great positioning with the ulti and the first spell. Maybe a position 4 Monkey King will be coming back into this patch. Morphling has been buffed a bit and nerfed a bit at the same point. So basically what they nerfed is that Attribute Shift now requires mana, but Attribute Shift, like, mana isn't really that much of a problem, because in general the mana that you waste on Attribute Shift is like 30 to 40 to fully shift from agility to strength, or from strength to agility, and 30 to 40 mana isn't even important on first levels. It's clearly not going to be important on the later levels. But they buffed the Morphling's biggest weakness that was on level 1, that the fact that he couldn't Attribute Shift almost at all on level 1. His interval for the Attribute Shift was 1 at level 1, now it's 3. So killing a Morphling on starting levels now is going to be way harder than it was before. Adaptive Strike mana cost has been reduced. Adaptive Strike shard no longer removes 3-second shard cooldown. So basically Morphling has been really buffed in this patch, I can say at least that. Naga Siren has been buffed due to the fact of the Manta being better, Diffusal being better. I think even though they nerfed her second spell a bit. I mean, they nerfed the cooldown, but they increased the duration, yeah. Yeah, it is still one of the best heroes, in my opinion. Not really big changes for the Furion. The hero is not going to be viable in this patch that much. Maybe on a support role, but overall in position 3 it's not going to be that viable. So here comes the Necrophos now. Shard has been revoked, no longer does 50% more damage to shield. Instead, it applies the Crepify on the target enemy or ally for 2.5 seconds. Against enemies, it reduces magic resistance by 25%. A really viable hero in this patch. He's going to be one of the best heroes on position 2 and maybe a viable hero on position 3, even though I'm not really sure about position 3 because it's going to be really aggressive lane. Position 2, a really viable hero because of the heal, like passive heal that the Necrophos has when he's last hitting the creeps, and due to the fact that there is no Necrobook anymore in the game, so like purges are way rare now in the game. Shard is no longer restricted from player units on Night Stalker, cannot affect special units like Golems or Spirit Bears. Shard can now be cast during the day on non-ancient unit. Shard healing increased from 25% to 35%. Let's see what the Shard was actually for the Night Stalker, I don't even know that. Night Stalker can cast Hunter in the night, consumes a creep, instantly killing it and restoring 35% of Night Stalker's maximum HP and 25% of mana. Cannot target ancients during the daytime. Oh. I mean, maybe. The funny thing is that the Shard actually looks stronger than the Aghanims itself. Okay, I think the Night Stalker is going to be a good hero, but the fact that the Night Stalker is weak on starting levels is really something to be afraid of as an offlaner, because early levels you don't want as an offlaner to be weak now in this patch. In general, you want in this patch to be stronger in the beginning. Now provides plus 50 attack animation speed, Vendetta, Nyx Assassin, Scepter damage reduction increased. Nyx Assassin is going to be a viable position for hero as well, because of the fact that we need position force to rotate on the map, and Nyx is doing that pretty well. Shard incoming damage reduction increased from 70% to 85%. Shard mana cost reduced. Not really important changes for the Ogre. I don't think a position 3 Ogre will be a viable hero now, even though people were very excited about the position 3 Ogre, but I don't think the hero... I think hero needs way much more than just buffing up some spells to be viable as a position 3. Omni Knight is being buffed. Hell yeah. One of the best heroes that I wanted to see in the patch, and I'm going to see him because Omni Knight is going to be completely nuts. Considering the fact that you have carry heroes like, let's say you have like Terrorblade, Naga, Luna, or you have a Lifestealer, and you can imagine these heroes being with a Heavenly Grace that gives you the status resistance. The Omni Knight is going to be a really good hero. Maybe even on a position 3 due to the move speed increase and the fact that his strength has been increased as well. Position 3 Omni Knight I think is going to be a very viable option in this patch. Even though he doesn't have that much pressure, but his pressure is dependent on the position 4, and due to the fact that position 4s are stronger now, Omni Knight can really resonate with many position 4 heroes. Like Earth Spirit, he just rolls in, you heal him, you have a great sustain on the lane. It's going to be very viable. Let's see what other position 4 heroes can be. Maybe a Sand King can be a position 4 hero in this patch due to the fact that the Blink Dagger is really way easier to buy. Tiny is going to be, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Omni is going to be a position 3 hero in this patch. Pro teams aren't going to figure out that as soon, I think, as they're going to figure out other heroes, but I think Omni is going to be a really viable hero in this patch. Very viable hero even. Out. That was an accident, come on, bring me back. Bring me back to the patch, please. Thank you. Now we go to, where was it again? Here. Oracle. Intelligence gain reduced, damage rescaled, false promise. Yeah, they're nerfing Oracle because of the fact that the Huskar is being brought to the game. I think because the Oracle wasn't that overpowered in the last patch anyway, so there was no point of fixing the hero. But even though the hero is still really strong hero, maybe even on position 4. Shard now has a 0.75 second cast time instead of a 1.5 second channel. Shard now transfers 100% of the health slash mana instead of 75%. Cast point increase from 0.25 to 0.3. Wow. OD might be a viable hero in this patch, but I don't really think so. Maybe because of the fact that Ember is going to be really viable and OD is good against Ember. Cast range reduced from 900 to 850. Penguin is being nerfed by little, but not really going to affect the hero that much. Range rescaled on PA. Shard damage increased on PA. Stifling Dagger cooldown buffed on level 10 talent. Yeah, I don't think PA is still going to be a viable hero. I think Juggernaut, more like Juggernaut Void, and fact of Void being in the patch is going to affect the PA itself, so PA isn't going to be viable because of the fact that Void is in the patch, and because of the fact that PA cannot really deal with the illusion heroes that well. Due to the fix of the Battle Fury, that means that Naga, TB, Luna are going to just obliterate the PA even if she is picked in the draft. So basically they're nerfing PL, but I don't think they nerfed PL enough because the hero is clearly overpowered. They even actually buffed his spirit less, which I don't understand at all. Phoenix. Shant has been reworked, now causes Sunray to slow enemies, really good buff for the Phoenix. Other spells have been generally nerfed and the talents, but this is a really big buff for him because you can use it during the supernova as well with a shard. You don't need Aghanims for it anymore. Really big Phoenix buff, I like it. Cooldown increased from 6 to 7.5. They are nerfing the puck, but I think hero needs way more nerfs to be not viable for gameplay. Rather than just changing it for like this, I think it needs way more nerfs. Base armor increased on Pudge, attack range increased from 150 to 175. Not really that drastic of changes. Pudge is still not going to be a viable hero in this patch. Let's be real and know that the Pudge isn't going to be a hero in this patch. Pugna is way too weak for this patch, not going to be a hero either. Delay increased on Nether Blast, yeah. Life drain interval reduced, but still not a viable hero. Quop, cooldown reduced on Blink, distance reduced from 1300, Shout silence duration increased, and Scepter bonus increased on damage, pure damage 680, oh my god. Level 20 talents increased from plus 25% spell life steal to plus 30%. Okay, just a moment. Yeah, Quop is going to be a really good hero in this patch that I can see because of the fact of Portal being really important and the early runes being really important, so I can see a Quop mid laner being really a good hero in this patch. Razor is being nerfed a bit because Razor was really strong in the last patch, but he's still going to be strong in this patch, so maybe a situational hero to just lock down some other heroes, even though Troll isn't going to be that viable, so I don't see when you would pick this hero. Now provides plus the Blink Strike provides 50% attack animation increase for the attack. Attack damage reduced from 70, 18, 90, 100% and 50%. Now increase your agility. What? What? That we need to demo. That we definitely need to demo this. I don't know how the percentage is going to work on the agility buff, but I think that's really strong, isn't it?
Yes. Prepare for battle.
Agility increase 100%. Let's see, let's see a like 6 slotted Ricky. Let's see, with the maximum agility, with the new diffusion blade, with the Poetret, with the Manto style that you would like to buy, and let's say you wouldn't really buy, I mean, yeah, you would buy a Rapier, but let's be realistic, you would buy a Scotty as well. So we skill everything, and now let's look at the level enemy to max, free spell. Holy guacamole. 188 buffed by 100%, 366. Jesus Christ, the damage of this hero is going to be insane. Well, let's see, wait. What does Aghanims do again? Yeah. I mean, it looks strong, but it's not overpowered, yeah. I thought it would be overpowered, but the damage reduction is way too much. Let's say if they increase this to 70% damage reduction. No, actually, I mean decrease it by 30 and make it 30% damage reduction. I think the hero will be completely overpowered at that point, but they're not going to do that. Yeah, it's strong, but it's not overpowered. Yeah, it's good, but it's not overpowered due to the fact that the scepter has been fixed as well. Yeah, not really that viable, but if they make the reduction damage 30% or even 25%, I think the hero is going to be completely broken. Because of the fact that the diffusal is really strong now. Yeah, we stopped here. So now we see Rubik. Telekinesis, short throw range increased, cooldown reduced. Yeah, Rubik is brought back in the game, I like that, but the hero was strong before as well, so I don't know why they're actually buffing him, because he was strong already. Scepter, cast range reduced on Sand King, Shard no longer triggers if there are no enemies nearby, Shard radius increased. This is good, because this spell was like, you would buy a Shard and it's just randomly popping somewhere, like, that's not a good thing to have on the map when you don't really want to show for a long time, when you're pushing up the lane, for example. Shadow Demon has been buffed. Good, because stacking the camps is becoming easier now because of them being closer on the safe lane. So position 5 Shadow Demon can just stack 2 camps with 1 Shadow Poison now. So it's a really good viable change for the hero, I would say. Base attack time reduced for the SF, base armor increase, Shard has been reworked, SF has been buffed, but let's be realistic. The SF is still not going to be a viable hero because of the fact that other heroes being really aggressive on the stunning levels, and Quap is just going to destroy SF on the laning stage. Lina is going to completely obliterate SF, so like SF's not going to be viable at all. Level 15 tolerance change from plus 100 to 75 ward attack range. No, not really viable changes for Shadow Shaman. Hero is still strong, not overpowered, just a legit like B or C tier hero. Silencer is being buffed. Wow, I like this. Maybe a core mid laner Silencer will be viable. Maybe not actually, because you need to harass enemy and he's not really good at doing that level 1. Yeah, but position 5 Silencer is pretty viable at the moment. Base damage, maybe even a position 4 with the shard upgrade and like 4 staff can be really viable. Base damage increased by 2 on Sky, they're buffing Sky Mage. I like that. Sky Mage is going to be a strong position 4, I already see that in this patch. Not drastic changes. On Slardar, even though Slardar has now bigger farm potential due to the fact that the Bash of the Deep now does double damage against creeps. Slark, reworked shard upgrade. But I think Slardar is actually... Well, actually I take my words back, because Slardar might be really good in this patch due to the fact that hero has an insane initiation. And initiation is something you're looking for in this patch really forward to on position 3 heroes. But yeah, and it's good against Centaur. If enemy picks Centaur, you pick Slardar. And you have later on in the game stage where Slardar can just 2-shot the Centaur. Yeah, I like it. Good buff for the Slardar. Shard on the Slark has been reworked, so basically the old Aghanim Scepter is now the Shard for Slark. Good buff, I like it, because you would never buy a Shard on this hero, and now it's actually become viable. Movement speed rescaled on Shadow Dance. Yeah, they're bringing the Slark into the game. I like that. This is going to be the Slark game. But yet again, let's be realistic. So we see a hero like this boy is coming up at you at minute 15 with Manta Dragonlance. Let's imagine he has a Manta Dragonlance. He's just walking on your tower with 6 illusions. Oh no, actually 5 illusions, let's be realistic. 5 5 illusions, and you're a Slark with Diffusal Blade, let's say Power Threads in with Wraith Band and Sticks, right? Because that's your realistic farm as a Slark in comparison to TBE. You will always be lower net worth if you're not snowballing of course like crazy. What are you going to do with a Slark against that Terrorblade? Nothing. You're not able to do anything against that hero. He just stands, hits you, and he needs 3 hits to kill you off. This is one of the aspects I really like about Dota, that if some certain heroes become stronger, then the other heroes become weaker, and this is certainly that situation when Illusion heroes become stronger and Slark becomes drastically weaker. Yeah, I think Slark has been buffed a bit and so on, but still really weak due to the fact that the heroes that are strong in this patch are mostly the Illusion heroes, or heroes like Void, and Void is really good against Slark. Void, Jugger is weak. Yeah, maybe you could pick a Slark against Jugger, like situational draft. Yeah, Slark could be a really situational hero if the enemy has no illusionist heroes and so on, but in general, he's really weak in this patch. This won't be an opener hero, let's put it like that. Let's put it like that, that the pro teams are going to be opening in general with the first pick Terrorblade, first pick or maybe not a first pick because you have Leshrac in this patch that is strong, and maybe they are going to ban Leshrac on first phase and just pick a Terrorblade or pick a Naga or pick a Luna with the Mantis style, and Luna is going to be a really viable hero in this patch. So in general, really good patch for heroes with illusions. That means that heroes like Slark aren't going to be viable at all, because you cannot even buy him Jolnir or Slark and like for it to be good. So there's literally no illusion cleave you can have in the game as Slark. Maybe a Dark Pact, but let's be realistic, a Dark Pact doesn't really do anything against the 4-slot at Terrorblade at minute 20. Base armor increased by 1 on Snapfire, intelligence increased by from 18 to 21. They are buffing Snapfire, trying to bring her back. I think Snapfire is going to be a viable position 4 hero or position 5 hero due to the fact that the illusionist heroes are stronger, yet again. And the illusionist heroes being stronger means that the Snapfire with the ultimate is going to be able to create a lot of action. Sniper has a reward take aim, now grants you a higher chance on headshot, plus 30%, and gives you a true strike for 4 seconds, but that's not really much, let's be honest. Sniper's not going to be a really effective hero. Maybe it actually can be against heroes like Terrorblade, but Naga I wouldn't say so. Luna I wouldn't say so because of the shard change that gives you the hit. You just use one beam and Sniper is going to lose like 700 HP. So, and he cannot really farm as fast as Luna does or Terrorblade, so hard to say if this hero can be viable. We yet need to see that, but I think in certain situations where you can throw out the shrapnel and defend the tower, it can be viable against heroes like Terrorblade, maybe. But I think there's so much net worth and so much farm on the map at the moment that Terrorblade is just going to completely obliterate the Sniper by farm. You will have like 5-6 slots on Terrorblade and 3 slots on Sniper if you just cannot keep up with the farm phase. Spectre is being buffed, I like that. Really good. But I think Spectre needs more stat buffs if you want to make this hero viable, because the only way you play this hero now is with Blade Mail and Radiance, and you don't really always want to buy this item, so. And the farm possibility for this hero is really low at the moment, due to the fact that Dispersion doesn't give you that much of farm potential anymore. Maybe Diffusal Blade Spectre can be viable again, Diffusal Blade Manta, but still it's like you really cannot keep up with the farm phase of heroes like Naga and Terrorblade in this patch. With heroes like Spectre and Sniper you just cannot, or Slark. Electric Wraith Shard, not necessary changes on Bara, like just little fixes or nerfs or buffs, so not important, I'm not going to read that. Electric Wraith Shard upgrade is now inactive and overload instead of a dedicated hotkey. Okay, travel speed rescaled. Travel speed is higher on level 1 of the ultimate, I like that. Bounce talent is no longer applied to allies that have the shard buff. Only Storm Spirit benefits from it now. Bounce talent now causes the secondary attacks to the 75% damage instead of 100%. Okay. They basically nerfed the Storm Spirit in the late game a bit, but due to the fact that the Kaya has been buffed, I think Storm Spirit is going to be a really viable hero. Shard now also reduces the cooldown on Stormhammer of Sven by 4 seconds. Damage increase from 100 to 100, 150 and 200. No, I mean, Sven can be viable, let's say it like that, but Sven is still not a good hero against Illusionist heroes. You have to remember one thing, he has a cleave, a really insane cleave, I think 90%, right, Sven? Let's see, Sven, my man. Yeah, 90% cleave, but you have to remember one thing, like, you have 90% cleave, but this hero, you just go in, not stats, but where is the about? Yes, and you see that he has a 9 armor at the beginning of the game. That means in the middle of the game, at like minute 15 to 20, you will have like 30 armor on this hero. 30 armor means like 55 to 60% damage reduction. That's completely insane when you're playing as physical damage heroes. And if Sven has a cleave, it doesn't matter anymore. You need magical damage to cleave these illusions. You cannot physical cleave them with a battle fury or cleave damage. So I don't think Sven is going to be viable because of the high armor heroes being way more viable in this patch. Tekis has been buffed. I think this hero should be deleted from the game, so let's forget about that. Mana cost reduced from 50 to 35. They're trying to bring back Templar Assassin to the game, and I think TA can be viable. I think TA can be viable due to the fact that she's good at laning stage starting levels. But yeah, heroes like Lina being viable, Leshuk being viable, I'm not exactly sure, but still maybe a TA can be viable in this patch. I think she can be viable if played correctly. Terror Blade. Now let's go back to the Terror Blade. Base HP regen increased from 0 to 1. Base damage increased by 4. Base armor reduced by 2. Attack damage bonus reduced from 20 to 15. Not really a drastic change. Like this, this doesn't really mean much. Attack range bonus reduced. That is a pretty important change, but you always max in Metamorphosis, so level 8 it already doesn't matter, so it's like first 10 minutes it might matter, then afterwards it doesn't anymore. Illusion damage increased from 40, 60, 100, 80 to 100 to 55, 70, 85, 100. Really good buff for the reflection. Slow increased, slow rescaled. On the reflection, duration rescaled to 5. It's constantly 5 seconds now. Oh my. This is really good. Cooldown increased from 20 to 20, 18, 16 to 28, 24, 20, 16. Mana cost reduced. Yeah, I think Terrorblade is going to be one of the most insane carries in this patch. I'm pretty sure he's going to be one of the most insane carries in this patch. I'm really sure about that. And I think pro teams are going to figure out that instantly, and they're going to just be playing this Terrorblade like on first pick. Mana cost rescaled from 90, 100, 110, 120. Yeah, okay, just only one change on a tide. Base armor increased on Timber, duration reduced on the reactive armor. Oh my god, they are just killing the reactive armor. Regen per stack reduced, cast range reduced. Shard no longer in grow sanctions, Shard now affects buildings for 40% damage. Debuff duration rescaled from 14 to 12. I think they're killing off Timber. This is not really a buff. No one cares about the Shard. They're killing off the Timber's potential to solo lane on level 3. Now he can solo lane on level 5 only, maybe with 3 level 3 passive. Tinker has been nerfed a bit and buffed a bit at the same point. Scepter has been nerfed. That is really good, but they need to nerf it even more because it's still OP. Actually, I take my words back because Tinker cannot be viable in this patch because of the Tinker's weak laning stage on the beginning levels. That means that the Tinker will be completely obliterated by heroes like TA. You can counter a Tinker with TA now in the patch. You just control the runes, you have active position force rotating on Tinker, so Tinker is going to be way less viable in this patch than it was before. Base HP regen increased from 1 to 1.5 on Tiny. They are practically bringing back Tiny, and I like it because the patch, as I said again, is really family friendly with the position 4 heroes. The position 4 players, so Tiny is going to be a really good position for in this patch yet again. Nature's guys. Shard now also grants invisibility near trees for the trees, protect mana cost reduced from 100 to 80, 90. Custom reduce. Yeah, Trent is going to be. I'm actually not sure if Trent is going to be still viable, even though. Well, actually, let's put it like that. What are the important heroes in this patch? It's Naga. It's TB, it's the Juggernaut, it's the Void. It's the Void, it's the Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut. Well, I'm pretty sure it can be good against Void. I'm pretty sure it can be good against, let's say, a hero like Jagger, but like TB, Naga that just buy first item Manta at minute 15. I'm not sure how the trait is going to work, but as a position 4-5, I think it's pretty viable because of the aggression of on the early levels is becoming way better due to the mana cost reduction on the spell. Mana cost increased on Warding Access, Warding Access range distance reduced. Rework shard upgrade, when Rampage globally causes all light heroes to gain attack speed, so like the old ulti is now the shard. Bonus armor is scaled from 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cooldown 80, mana cost 75, movement speed reduced from 30, 35, 40%, 25, 30, 35%. Well, Troll hasn't really been nerfed, but like, let's say put it like this, like Troll cannot keep up, yet again, Troll cannot keep up with heroes like TB. Well, Troll is bad against TB, but it's good against Naga, so it's like 50-50. Maybe Troll actually is going to be viable in this patch with him Mjolnir. Like Maelstrom into... You don't really want to buy Sinjin Dasha because it's been fixed, but like attack speed doesn't really affect Troll, so maybe Maelstrom, Sinjin Dasha into Mjolnir, into Satanic can be a viable build for the Troll Warlord, so Troll can be actually played in this patch. Okay, they tried to nerf Tusker, but they didn't really nerf it, so let's not really talk about it. Yeah, Tusker is still a really good hero, even though the lethal damage decreased, but like 5 damage, let's say no one cares about that. Attack range increased from 175 to 200 for Underlord. Now he's an official Monkey King. Radius rescaled from 400 to 430, 460, 490 to 425. Shard no longer provides healing. Shard now also increases the firestorm wave count by 3. Septon, good hero, really good hero. Underlord is going to be a really viable offlaner, even though... Well, actually, let's put it this way. Underlord isn't going to be a viable offlane hero, he's going to be a very situational hero. Because of the fact that, yet again, I said, position 3 is expected to have initiation in this patch, but you can have an initiator in position 4, and you can have position 3 that deals with the illusions. And when you need someone to deal with the illusions, there's, I think, no hero better than the Underlord at this point with these buffs on the shard. And the shard... Firestorm count increasing by 3. I think you can deal with the Tower Blade. I think you can deal with Naga, Luna. So I think Underlord is going to be a really situational hero against the illusion heroes to be countered. Agility gain increased. I don't know why you would agility increase the Undying. Like, what's the point? Now deals double damage to creeps, the DK. So they're basically giving all the supports that had no outpush earlier an outpush possibility to the creep waves in their later on stages of the game. Illusions no longer apply the div buff of Flash Golem. Okay, not really necessary. The only thing that is nice, like really drastic change for the Dying is the fact that they give him an outpush. On the DK, he didn't have any before, he needed to use Tomb, now he doesn't. Rework Shard upgrade, now causes Earthshock to apply a 1.5 second enrage buff on yourself, reduces cooldown by 2 seconds. Wow, a good change for Ursa, but like Ursa isn't going to be viable at all against illusion heroes. So let's forget about Ursa, because that's not a hero in this patch. Base damage increased from 4149 to 4450. Base movement speed increased from 290 to 295. I don't even know what to think about the bench. Let's see what the bench passive does again. Base damage bonus. Yeah, bench support. Bench support is going to be insane with the Terror Blade. Yeah, bench support is going to be really good with the Terror Blade. Yeah, Avenger Full Spirit and Terror Blade is going to be an insane opener now in draft. Where were we again? Yeah, we were here, near the Avenger Full Spirit. So now we go to the Venomancer. So as I said again, Vengeful in position 4 or 5 is going to be viable. I don't think in position 3 Venge is going to be ever viable again in this patch because of the fact of Initiator's necessity. And the Lightning Stage being strong, and Vengeance can do neither of those. Venomancer, base damage increased, slow reduced, radius increased from ulti. Well, Veno isn't going to be, let's be honest, Veno isn't going to be really viable in this patch. He's just going to be destroyed by heroes like Terrorblade in 3 hits on the laning stage if you pick him in opposition 3. Not viable at all. Mana cost rescaled on Viper, not a viable hero in this patch either. Dies from 3 hits from a Terrorblade, 3 hits from the Juggernaut. Naga is going to destroy him. Morphling doesn't give a crap about him. Juggernaut doesn't care about him. Void doesn't care about him. So all the heroes that are viable on carry role in this patch do not care about Viper, and Viper is generally the position 3 or 2 hero. You cannot play him on carry role. That means that any gank from that hero or rotation is going to be completely neglected by the enemy carry. That means you cannot really punish enemy carry with this hero, which means hero is completely not viable. Visage, attack animation improved. The attack animation of this hero was already insane. Like, why would you improve it again? Base armor increased by 1, mana cost reduced, decreased from 135 to 125. Okay, shard mana cost reduced from 200 to 125. Shard heal increased. Yeah, the same thing is about the Visage as the Viper. It can be played on 3, 4, or position 2. And yet again, Visage is a crap hero because you cannot do anything against Naga or a Terrorblade with a Visage. You just cannot. The illusions just demolish your passive, which means if your passive is down, you just die in several hits afterwards. So you just cannot play Visage in this match. Shard damage increased. Plus 125 to plus 200 for Void Spirit. Cast range reduced on Aether Remnant. Cast range reduced on ulti. Replenish time improved from 30 to 28. Mana cost increased on the third spell. Cooldown increased from 16 to 18 seconds. Talent reduced from 5 second Astral Step charge start time to -4. I think Void Spirit is still going to be a viable hero, even to the fact of nerfing the Aether Remnant and nerfing the ultimate a bit. Actually buffing the ultimate because of the cooldown is more important than the cast range by 50. But like still Void Spirit is going to be viable due to the fact that the laning stage of Void Spirit is really strong at lower levels. And the fact that Void Spirit has really good rotating possibilities and really early bottle is required on the Void Spirit as well, which means the water run is going to be nicely used by a hero like Void Spirit. Shadow Ward, Shard movement speed slow reduced from 20% to 10%. Shard now also changes it to a 425 AoE spell. Cast time improved from 0.5 to 0.4. Upheaval, Scepter spawn interval reduced from 0.4 to 0.2. Yeah, they're buffing Warlock. I like that. I think Warlock can be a viable hero with like carries like Terrorblade, Naga, Void, heroes that just want to farm. They don't really want to fight in the beginning, and later on the stages they just want to walk on and front lane for the Warlock. I think Warlock can be a really viable hero in this patch. Shikochi no longer unlocks max movement speed. Thank God. They are nerfing the Weaver. No moves at haste speed always. Oh my god, why did I say that? Okay, so he became stronger on the stunning levels, but became weaker on the later on stages of the game. I like that. Maybe a position 3 Weaver can be viable again, which I'm not sure. No, actually he won't be because position 3 is expected to initiate and have the possibility of having some kind of disable. And Weaver isn't really... A carry Weaver is going to be weaker in general, because you cannot keep up with the other heroes' farming potential, so maybe a Maelstrom Weaver can somehow be viable and situational, but still not so strong. Mana cost reduced on Shackle. Shard now also reduces cooldown by 1.5 on Power Shot. Kill threshold no longer scales based on Power Shot channel. Oh, so you can just throw it like minimal Power Shot and have it hit and kill. It's good. Position 4 Windrager is maybe even more viable, and position 2 Windrager can be viable as well, due to the fact that Windrager in the last patch you didn't really want to buy Maelstrom, but now that you have Illusion Heroes being more viable, you would like to buy a Maelstrom as a Windrager, so in general I think Windrager is going to be way better in this patch. Plus she has a very solid laning stage from level 1, level 2. Lina is like one of the heroes that can really like them maybe be good against the Windrager, but other heroes are like 50-50, like Queen of Pain. It really depends on the skill level of the player. So I think the solid laning stage and the possibility of being good against the current meta heroes is giving Windrager a really good high score on the pick rate as a mid laner. Winter Wyvern base armor has been increased by 1, cooldown reduced. Now waits if there are no enemies in the area for 2.5 seconds. Winter's Curse, Cold Embrace. So she has been actually nerfed a bit. I don't know why, because she wasn't really viable in the last patch as a really good hero anyway. Hero damage increased on Cask. Nothing really is going to change by this. Talents have been changed from rate variable last and duration for the rating plus 20 strength. Not really that viable of changes for rating either, because he cannot deal with the illusions that much. And base armor has been increased by 1 for Zeus. Shard cooldown reduced from 14 to 11, and talents has been changed for the Zeus. Okay, so that was for the patch. This is not going to affect the Zeus at all, because Zeus is going to be a good hero anyway in this patch as position 2, because of the illusion heroes being stronger, because of the Void being stronger, and the Chrono Nimbus setup. In general, Zeus is going to be a really good hero in this patch against Terrorblade, Naga, in synergy with the Void. Yeah, I think Zeus is going to be a really good hero against Illusion Clear. And in general, that was all for this patch. I think I explained really detailed what exactly is going to change depending on the meta, which heroes are going to be effective. I know it's hard to remember all of this information as a player, so if you want a continuation and like a tier list for heroes that are going to be active in this patch, you can let me know, and I'm going to make a tier list with all the heroes on every position that are like which heroes are going to be more effective than the others. And yeah, that was it. Thanks for tuning in, and if this video was like effective for you and helped you a bit to understand more upcoming meta, and is going to help you feel more free while playing the Dota game now in the next patch, and you learn something from it, please support my Twitch channel, because I'm going to be regularly streaming on it, how I improve on my 8K MMR account, and how my goal to the 10K is going to go. Because generally I'm aiming to the pro scene and not just High MMR. So let's see. Thanks for tuning in, and if you want the next video to be about the tier list of heroes that are going to be amazing in this patch, then you can let me know about that. Thanks for tuning in, and support me on the Twitch channel. Bye bye.